This video is on secure coding techniques. Think of secure coding as bulletproof glass. It needs to withstand cyber attacks. Secure coding is essential in any software development cycle. This can include all stages of software development, from planning and requirements gathering to writing code and testing. There are several techniques that could help safeguard code. First, we have normalization. This is the process of increasing the cohesion. Apply it to coding and you have a process that conforms a code with good standard, making it regular and consistent. Next, we have stored procedures. This is the practice of storing business logic, rules, algorithms, and data within a database. These procedures can be run at any time by the database rather than triggered when a user tries to access the logic. This technique increases performance, promotes interoperability, increases security, because you can restrict access to data and much more. Next, we have obfuscation. This is a process of making code more difficult to understand. This is typically done by replacing certain words and phrases in the code with numbers. The source code is obfuscated to the point where it is unreadable and impossible to understand, let alone execute by a third party. This procedure assures no loopholes for debugging, manipulating, or disseminating the fictitious application for illicit benefit. Developers ensure that their product's intellectual property is protected against security threats, unauthorized access, and the discovery of application flaws by making the program challenging to reverse engineer. This procedure also limits the malicious access to source code and ensures varying levels of code protection depending on the type of obfuscation technique used. Next, we have code reuse and dead code. Code reuse is the practice of using existing code for a new function or software. In order to reuse that code, the code needs to be high quality. That means it needs to be safe, secure, and reliable. Reused code should be validated for vulnerabilities on a frequent basis. Code reusability provides a lot of benefits if done correctly. Dead code is any code that's never executed, or if executed, the execution has no effect on the application's behavior. Also, dead code adds unnecessary complexity to the code base. It makes the code base more difficult to understand and maintain in the long run. It also impacts performance and security, and in some cases, due to poor software engineering practices, dead code can come back to life and cause failures. It's therefore recommended to remove dead code. Next, we have server-side versus client-side execution and validation. Server-side validation occurs at the back-end server housing the application code, and client-side validation is when the entered data is validated via script on the user's browser before the form is sent to the server. These two validation techniques protect against malicious attempts by bypassing validation. Next, we have memory management. This optimizes performance by assigning blocks of memory to programs and processes, so the CPU can efficiently access the instructions and data it needs to execute the various processes. This reduces vulnerabilities like improper memory utilization. Next, we have use of third-party libraries and SDKs. SDK stands for Software Development Kit. It is a downloadable set of tools developers use to build applications for a specific operating system. SDK comprises everything you need to create a particular module within an app and includes libraries, tools, sample code, relevant documentation, and often application programming interfaces. These third-party libraries can fill in expertise gap, especially more so if they're from a reputable source. They are pre-tested and bug-free. And lastly, we have data exposure. All this is just ensure that you encrypt sensitive data at all times, both in transit and at rest.